Hi everyone, I'm Donna Stellhorn, your practical astrologer, and today we are talking about the full moon. It's on October 6th, it's at 14 degrees of Aries, and now that eclipse season is done, now comes the time of opportunities. And so let's talk about how to take hold of those opportunities. So let's take a look at the chart, and what we have is the full moon, which is of course right here. I'm still learning how to draw. And so with this full moon chart, we look at what kind of aspects it's making and what else is going on in the chart. And very specifically, the things that are jumping out at me, let me get rid of those blue lines, is that we've got Mercury here at 0 degrees and then Neptune here at 0 degrees. Now 0 degrees is a very interesting energy, because different than 1 degrees and 2 degrees, 0 is all possibilities. There's a myriad of possibilities, and it can feel so much so that it's overwhelming. And having two planets in this position, and exactly in an inconjunct, and both of them ruled by Mars, because the Mercury in Scorpio is ruled by Mars, and the Neptune in Aries, of course, is ruled by Mars. And in this chart, we have Mars in Scorpio, feels very at home in Scorpio. So here you have an ability to take action, but you have all of these possible things that you can do. And all of them are going to take a little bit of work, because even though the Neptune can give you the idea that you could just slide right in, that it's easy, and the Mercury says, here are the steps to take, so you know what to do, it still has enough of an effort to it that it's going to be different. And that's the thing that the eclipse wanted us to do anyway, is to end something that we're familiar with and try something new. And so this chart really epitomizes that. And because it's a full moon chart, everything's lit up. It's right here to say, look, over the last couple of weeks, the universe has been saying, here you go, here you go. And maybe now is the time that you can say, oh yeah, there's enough light here, there's enough energy here, I see the possibilities, and I'm going to grab hold of it. Another really interesting part of this chart is the Venus sitting right there with the South Node. So Venus is what we want and what we like and what we think will be comfortable and delicious, and the South Node is the familiar. So right there we have this desire to stay with what we know. And yet with these two planets at 0 degrees and this full moon saying the energy is very high, now's really the time to say, what can I do that's different? What's the different path I can take? How can I think differently? How can I take a different route, to what I want to do? With an astrology reading, you get more information about who you are, your talents and abilities. You get to see what obstacles are ahead, and you can get a game plan for how to get past those obstacles and find success. So if you're interested in having a reading, there's a link in the description. Okay, let's take a look at your sign. Okay, Libra, your short-term opportunity is something to do with money, which means that this could be some temporary gig or a new customer or a new opportunity that leads to money. And this is something that is pretty immediate and something you want to grab hold of. Your long-term opportunity has to do with some sort of collaboration, a partnership, a connection with someone. And this will take a little bit longer to cultivate and to bring into fruition, but it could lead into something very beneficial. This might be for business or for a friendship or even a love relationship. But this is something that kind of grows over time. Now, when it comes to relationships, your chart is stronger than most because the full moon is lighting up your chart. But there's no real aspects going on, which is really interesting, because in this chart, there are hardly any aspects, not just for Libra, but for all of the signs. And I think it's so fascinating that during a time of the eclipses, when we were so inundated, that now this would be followed by such a quiet period. But as I said, you have this full moon energy lighting up relationships, which brings you more insights into your relationships so that you can understand maybe what's holding you back from a new love, or where you should be going to meet someone, or in your existing relationship, it gives you insight into your partner, what they're thinking, what their goals are, and how you can get closer with your partner. Now, when it comes to your money, Mars is in the sign of Scorpio, and that's very straightforward. Mars is comfortable in this sign, and it's in a money house for you, and so basically says, if you want more money, think about your money, work on your money, take action about money. It's just very focused on the basics, which is, how do I get more customers? How do I get the better job? How do I invest? Thinking about money. And so if you were thinking about maybe reading a financial book or seeing your financial planner or things that are basic like that, those are the actions to take. Now, when it comes to money from business and even the money that comes from your career, like I said, there's hardly any aspects in this chart. So everything is moving along kind of at the status quo. That's why it's so important to focus on the actual basics of money, how to do the budget and how, like what your boss needs to recommend you for a raise. Those sort of basics can help you over this longer term outside this 2-week period. So, but for the most part, what we see is that things are running about the same as usual. Today's tutorial is a blast from the past, especially for those of you who miss my long hair and want to know about your rising sign. Here you go. I'm Donna Stellhorn, and here are 3 things you may not know about your rising sign. Number 1, your rising sign is based on your time of birth and location of birth, and the rising sign changes every 2 hours. And so over a 24-hour period, we will go through all 12 rising signs, which means that sometimes even twins have different rising signs. Number 2, your rising sign is how you appear to others, and so they may see you as your rising sign more than your sun sign. Rising signs can also affect your appearance, and so you might find that you look more like your rising sign. For example, Taurus can have a gap in their teeth, or Virgo might have very long, beautiful fingers, or Scorpio has very piercing eyes. This is based on the rising sign, not on the sun sign. And number 3, if your sun sign and your rising sign are the same, then you're a double. And that means that what we see is what we get. That's awesome.